Let me ask you a serious question. If you had to retire tomorrow, would your money actually support the lifestyle you want for the next 30 years? Not just how much you've saved, but how it's structured. Because that's where most people get caught off guard. They focus on the number in their retirement account and ignore the hidden threats lurking underneath. Things like debt payments, tax exposure, market volatility. The truth is, two retirees can have the exact same portfolio value, and one might outlive their money while the other retires confidently and passes on a legacy. So in this video, I want to walk you through the 4 wealth tiers I use to evaluate whether someone is truly ready for retirement or just hoping for the best. And by the end, you'll know exactly what tier you're in and what steps to take to move to the next level. Hi, I'm Phil Gallant, president of the Optimus Group. Today, we're walking through what I call the 4 wealth tiers of retirement readiness and how to know which tier you're in right now. The first tier is the saver. This is where most people land by default. You spent your career working hard, contributing consistently to your 401ks, maybe IRAs, maybe built some equity in your home, and you've probably paid off a chunk of your mortgage. So on paper, it looks like you're doing all the right things. But here's the catch. You're still carrying debt, maybe a mortgage, a car loan, maybe credit card or student loan payments. Your retirement savings are almost entirely in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs or 401ks, and the bulk of your portfolio is still tied to the market, meaning that your future income rises and falls based on things you can't control. You're not just exposed to volatility, you're also setting yourself up for a major tax burden later, because every dollar you take out of those traditional retirement accounts is going to be taxed as ordinary income. So here's an example. Let's suppose that you have $1 million in a traditional 401k. It feels like you're in great shape until you realize you might only keep 65 to 70% of that after taxes, depending on your state and future tax brackets. And if the market takes a hit, especially in your early retirement years, that drawdown can be permanent. This is the classic retirement trap. High savings, but low control. And that's the key distinction. You've built assets, but you haven't built a system. In tier 2, we have the structured planner. And in this tier, you've started making the transition from saving to strategizing. You've realized that wealth isn't just about what you accumulate, it's about what you keep, what you can access, and how efficiently you can use it. Now, people at this stage begin to do some smart things like pay off consumer debt and mortgages intentionally, convert traditional retirement accounts to Roth IRAs or other tax-free strategies, begin exploring non-market-based assets to reduce exposure. You're asking better questions now, like how do I control my tax bracket in retirement? How can I structure my income so I don't trigger IRMA penalties or Social Security taxes? One strategy we often introduce here is a specially designed insurance contract, or an SDIC. Now, this isn't your typical life insurance policy. We design these to build tax-advantaged cash value accessible in retirement with zero market risk. Used correctly, they can function as your own private reserve, a source of liquidity, a buffer during downturns, and a way to reduce dependence on traditional investment income. You're not at zero yet, but you're building the infrastructure that makes zero possible. Then we get to tier 3, the independent retiree. And this is where things begin to feel different, because now you've built an income plan and it works on your terms. When you're at this stage, you've eliminated all debt, no mortgage, no loans, no lingering interest dragging you down. You've created a tax-free income stream through Roth accounts, SDICs, or other advanced planning. You've positioned yourself so that market performance doesn't dictate your lifestyle. So let's take a look at what that looks like in practice. Let's say you're retired with $600,000 in Roth IRAs, a fully capitalized SDIC with $200,000 in cash value, and a modest Social Security benefit. Now you can draw maybe $50,000 or $60,000 per year completely tax-free and without selling investments in a down market. You're not worried about a sequence of return risk. You're not wondering how a market correction will impact your monthly income. And you're certainly not losing sleep over tax hikes in Washington, D.C. This is what I like to call freetirement, because it's the difference between retirement and being financially free. Most importantly, it is measurable. You've reached zero on all 3 major retirement threats: zero debt, zero income taxes, and zero market risk. Now that's not hype, that's strategy. In tier 4, you become the legacy builder, and at this tier, retirement stops being about you and starts being about impact. You've structured your finances for maximum efficiency. Now it's about passing it on intentionally, without leaving behind a mess, a tax bill, or a guessing game for your family. This is where we focus on wealth transfer strategies that minimize estate taxes and probate, survivor income planning to prevent the widow's penalty, and permanent insurance solutions that protect generational wealth. Let's say you have $1 million in Roth accounts, another $500,000 in your SDIC, and a permanent life insurance policy with $1 million death benefit. You're living comfortably today, and when the time comes, you'll pass on tax-free wealth to your children, your grandchildren, or even to a charitable cause you believe in. In this stage, there's quiet confidence that comes with it, because your financial legacy isn't just about leaving money. It's about leaving clarity and stability and direction. You've moved from accumulation to distribution to intention. And that's the ultimate sign that you're not just ready to retire, you're ready to live, give, and lead with purpose. So now that you've seen the 4 wealth tiers, where do you think you are? More importantly, where do you want to be? Because here's the truth. Most people walk into retirement with decent savings, but without a real plan to protect it from the 3 things that matter most: debt, taxes, and market risk. That's why I developed the Get Me to Zero framework, to give you a clear path to follow. It's not about guessing. It's not about reacting. It's about building a retirement strategy that's measurable, that's efficient, and that's built to last. And the good news, you don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Small intentional moves, like how your accounts are structured and how your income is withdrawn and how your tax exposure is managed, can make a massive difference over time. And this is where working with a financial professional can make a big difference. Someone who understands how to coordinate all the moving parts: investments, income, insurance, and taxes into one cohesive plan. If you're approaching retirement and you want to make sure your plan is working for you and not against you, then let's talk. Click the link in the description below to book a free consultation, and I'll walk you through the 4 wealth tiers in more detail and show you exactly how we can help you get to zero. Zero debt, zero income taxes, and zero market risk, so you can retire with clarity and confidence. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.